And this business model really did appeal to me. It just immediately appealed to me. I could just do this and coordinate everything from my computer. Hey everyone, now I have to admit that I also have practically zero original ideas. I am a big fat cloner, and today I'm going to explain exactly how I found each of my investments, and this could really help you uncover some investments for yourself through my cloning methods. I like making money and I want to make a lot more. I think you would probably want the same thing. Well, we don't get extra points here for style. I mean, if you come up with a brilliant idea that came to you in a dream or through incredible research and creative thinking, well, that doesn't mean you will make any money from the idea. There is just no extra points for style. So many of us are very familiar with Mohnish Pabrai, and if you aren't, well, he is a very awesome investor who is a self-proclaimed cloner. He believes he has virtually zero original ideas, and he is very successful because of it. Also, I'm going to explain in this video how I cloned my business 7 years ago, and you might be able to do something similar. All right, stay with me for this one. Payeholi. Okay, I'll first go through the origination of my current investments and current ideas. Then I'll explain how I came up with one of my business ideas 7 years ago. So let's now jump straight into the origination of all my current investments. So I have all my investments on the left-hand side here, and on the right is how I came up with the idea or where it came from originally. So Berkshire Hathaway, way back in 2011, I was reading a newsletter from a guy called Lance Spicer, and he introduced me to Warren Buffett and value investing and all of that. This is when I was just starting to learn about investing. So I think most of us come across Warren Buffett very early, and obviously we get interested in his company, Berkshire Hathaway, at some stage. I invested in that company at the pretty low end, about $170 back in when the pandemic had just started, and I thought it was at a good price. So that was Berkshire Hathaway. Next is OTCM, which stands for Over-the-Counter Markets. I found this in 2020 through another YouTuber. His name's Mariusz Kuznetsny. I had a really good video on OTCM, and I wanted to dig in deeper after I watched that video. Plus my friend Ed Moyes, hey mate, how are you? He loves these kind of toll bridge businesses where they're the exchanges that people trade on. So whether you're buying or selling or holding or whatever's happening in the market, it's volume that matters, and that's how they generate their revenue. So they're essentially toll bridges to access financial instruments. Another company that I came across was Chicago Mercantile Exchange, which is CME. I found that back in 2011 when I was learning about investing. And I've always thought that's a fantastic business, but always overpriced. But OTCM was at a good price. So I wanted to invest in an exchange, and I thought this was a very good exchange to invest into. So that's OTCM. Next was Shinikin. This is a straight up Mohnish Pabrai clone. He invested in this company, I think back in 2020 as well, maybe 2021. And once I saw that, I did some work into it myself and essentially invested alongside Mohnish. Next up is the Naspers, Prosus, Tencent situation. This is my biggest holding. And I actually came across Tencent back in, I think, 2016 or so. I was in China and I saw WeChat. I saw people using it for everything. And I got really interested in WeChat back then. Tencent seemed overpriced in my opinion, but I didn't really understand the business either. Little by little, I started to feel more comfortable with WeChat and how it was working. And in 2020, a subscriber here on my channel, I can't remember who it was exactly. I hope you come forward and remind me, but you told me about Naspers and Prosus as a good way to access Tencent because you can get it at a discount. I've got lots of videos on explaining that one, but that's how I found that idea. Nintendo, obviously, as a child, I loved these games. I was looking into gaming stocks, and a subscriber asked for a deep dive into the company, and then I went and did a deep dive into the company and found that I think the brands and the IP is a lot stronger than there's some hidden value there. So that was a subscriber pretty much asking me to do some work on it, so I did. That wasn't my own idea or anything like that. So yep, I'm glad I've made this YouTube channel because I found some pretty good ideas from it. And another one from a subscriber was Markel. I think this was Tom Clark. Tom, you might remember that. It's also a chapter in Richer, Wiser, Happier. Tom Gaynor, the CEO of Markel, he's a really interesting guy, really conservative guy. But yeah, Markel wasn't my idea either. Came to me from other people, again from a subscriber. Skyworks is something that I found back in 2011, and I've been following it for many years. This was another thing that Lance Spicer had invested in and was talking about a lot. And I've been watching this one for a long time, so not my original idea. Dropbox, another YouTuber here, Andrew Latenda. I'm actually also a user of Dropbox as well. But thanks, Andrew, for pointing out Dropbox. I think it was nearly a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years ago now. I think that's going to be a fantastic investment. Then there's Alibaba. So in 2015, when I was starting my business, I was actually needing Alibaba all the time because I was sourcing products from China, and Alibaba was the easiest way to do that by far, and it was the safest way to do it by far too. And ever since that 2015 time, I was following this company because I was using it quite a lot. And once Charlie Munger had bought into it back in second quarter 2021, that gave me that I could trust the numbers coming out of China. And that's, I think Q3 was when I started investing in Alibaba. So again, this was a little bit of personal experience, but I wasn't going to pull the trigger, but I did after Charlie Munger. Redbubble, this came from Andrew Rosenblum, who has some really interesting ideas. He scours the world for smaller companies that are really, there's some really interesting things there, and he likes to look where others aren't looking, and I respect that method, and I thought he had a really good thesis on Redbubble as well, and that started my research into that. The last company, I haven't invested in this company yet, but I'm hoping to very soon, is called Judgement. I know it says Zigexn, but it's pronounced Judgement. And firstly, I saw this in a ticker stock screen, which I'll explain in another video, probably the next video, how I found it. And then Investing with Frank mentioned it in one of his videos that he's looking at this company, and that's when I started digging. So I saw it in a few different places, it kept popping up, and I started doing some digging, and I really like this company. I'll try to do a deep dive into it for everyone here on the channel at some point soon, but really interesting company, and again, not an original idea. So as you can see, I have lots of international stocks, and I use Interactive Brokers to buy, hold, and sell these investments. Hopefully more buying and holding rather than selling. Anyway, there's a link in the description if you want to check it out yourself. It's the safest brokerage platform out there. So the business that I started back in 2015, that was not an original idea whatsoever. What I was doing at the time was I was listening to as many podcasts as I could because I wanted to start a business. And the one I was listening to was from Pat Flynn called Smart Passive Income Podcast. Fantastic podcast. I really enjoyed listening to it every day. And I was really just scouring through for business models that I thought I could try. At first, I was thinking things like software as a service businesses, and then website businesses, and then maybe Google advertising businesses. But I came across an Amazon FBA business back in 2014. And this business model really did appeal to me. It just immediately appealed to me because there's no clients, there's no phone calls. I could just do this and coordinate everything from my computer. I like to be organized, and it really suits my personality because essentially it's just a logistics organization business where you have to you're moving pieces and coordinating everything to happen around you. And you can do it all from your laptop. And I didn't really need to rely on meeting with clients, and didn't have to do any of that stuff. And so this business model was suitable for me. So to put this plan together, I was just taking ideas that I thought were good from lots of different people. And for example, I would just search for how to find a good supplier in Alibaba, or how to ship products from China to Amazon FBA warehouses. And I would just watch people on YouTube or read blogs about people who had already done this, and I would just take that information and go do it myself. So simply enough, I just used Alibaba to find what I wanted to sell and went through my plan that I had made. None of it was original. I just searched for these answers to the next piece of the puzzle. I didn't try and think of a product either, and then go out and see if it would actually sell. I actually found products that were already selling where I thought I could enter. I iterated on an idea in the space, and I tested it, adjusted it, and grew the business, and I just took it as far as I wanted to, and then I sold the business. I don't think any of the steps that I took were original in any way. I got all my ideas from somebody else along the journey, and it was just a matter of just putting them into the puzzle that I was making myself, and it turned into a business that I was really proud of. So I'm going to paraphrase here from Guy Spear and William Green about being a big fat cloner. Guy Spear said it takes a lot of self-confidence to be okay with not trying to reinvent the wheel. And William Green said that it's also about humility, to say that, look, I don't need to assert myself as the wisest, most original person here. But cloning is a radical idea. There is just something in human DNA that prevents us from cloning. We want to be original or special or unique. And it really takes a lot of humility to set aside your own ego, to say that you don't care about being original. There are smarter people out there with more experience, and I'll just learn from them. So I don't need to be original. I need to just focus and study on the people that have figured stuff out, and the stuff that I haven't figured out yet myself, I just copy their ideas. I even think that I might be able to even improve on some of the ideas that I get from others. I was able to do it with my business, where I found products and made tiny little changes that made the product slightly better. That's all I did. And that is something we all have to remind ourselves, that we don't have to be the smartest person on YouTube or the best investor of all time or even just the smartest person in the room. Embarrassingly, I definitely catch myself sometimes thinking that I'm the smartest person in the room when I'm with some of my friends. So I think having some humility, putting aside your ego and getting on board with cloning and taking ideas from others, it'd be really helpful in your life. And even better if you can improve on the ideas of others to suit your situation. Now, I want to say a thank you to Sandeep K. You ask great questions. I appreciate your support. You are a legend. Thanks for staying to the end of the video, and I will see you next time.